race against the clock. We about to keep moving. So now we're talking about handling others' emotions. So how do we handle the emotions of others? How do we do relationships and friendships and all that other stuff? Okay, so just want to say as we go into the session, it really starts with the session we just did, right? Like when we talk about helping others to navigate others' emotions, it really, like, we can't help anybody if we're in a 2. Like if we're in a 2 or a 3, we can't, there's no way to help somebody else. We have to be, and if there's the marker, I'm just gonna throw this up there, just I erased it, but it got messy, you know what I mean? So I gotta do a cleaner one. There we go. This looks beautiful. So we just call it L1, L2, L3. All right, so we ourselves gotta be able to manage being in this area if we're gonna be able to help somebody else who gets into a 2 or 3, get them to come back down. We ourselves have to be at a 1. And we have to learn to remain and stay at a 1. And that's not always easy because people may sometimes say certain things that get us triggered. And when they get us triggered, we're in a 2. And we think we're in a 1, but we're not in a 1. That's what I had to teach myself. You're not in a 1 right now, bro. You're in a 2, and you need to come down before we can even have this conversation. And so anyways, one of the things that helps with that is first recognizing this, and this is a harsh truth, but it is true. There's nothing that someone can do to cause you to go up to a 2 or 3. This is a harsh reality, but there's nothing. Like, to feel an emotion, people can say certain things, can do certain things to have us feel an emotion. We're not talking about an emotion here. We're talking about getting triggered. When somebody does or says or whatever else, right? Like if someone says or does something to us, what they're saying or doing to us actually is triggering something that's already on the inside of us. It's already in there. It's something that flows out of us. Now, don't get me wrong. People can do like certain things to engage that trigger, but that trigger's on the inside of you. And it's just waiting to, it's just sitting on the inside of you, just waiting to go off. Waiting for somebody to step and click that button. And as soon as they click that button, you're rising. As soon as they touch that, you're rising. And so that button's on the inside of you. And so we can't say that person is the reason I begin triggered, because the reason you begin triggered is because you have a trigger on the inside of you. And so the goal is, right, because this trigger is like, just imagine this button on the inside of you. This trigger is like this huge, right? Someone steps on it, click, triggered. Steps on it, click, triggered. Steps on it, click, triggered. Rather than saying, that person's the reason why I keep getting triggered, or this situation is the reason why I keep getting triggered. Cool. But the goal really is to shrink the size of that button. The goal is just to shrink the size of that button. Because at the end of the day, we get triggered, we're human beings, but we really want to shrink the size of that button so that when we're in conversations with other people, we don't flare up. We don't get, what we're doing is, and we talked about this earlier, right, where you can lower this level where you're not shooting up to a 3 no more. Now you're shooting up to a high 2, but now you're shooting up to a low 2, right? And so the goal is to shrink that button to prevent all of this angst. So anyways, I'm saying all that because it's important for us to recognize that something that another person is doing is really just stepping on a button more than it is something about them. Like that button's on the inside of you. I think of, and this is just a couple of examples, but I think of Jesus, right? Like where the enemy threw everything at Jesus. Like he slapped Jesus in the face. And when he slapped Jesus on the face, Jesus said, "Why you hit me? What evil did I do?" That's how he responded. He said, "Yo, what's going on?" When Jesus was on the cross being crucified, he could have hit him with all these folks, get them. They trying to get me, get them. But instead, no, when when he died on the cross, he's like, no, forgive them. They don't even know what they're doing. There was a recognition that like, these folks is operating up here. They don't even understand. They can't even see what's happening right now. They're operating in the 2 or 3. So we have to recognize that there's something on the inside of us that we need God to work on, to build up, so that we can properly help others through whatever it is that they're actually going through. So check this out, right? Kind of one of the first things. Recognizing others' emotions, paying attention to verbal and nonverbal cues, understand how others are feeling. So again, the emotional wheel is a great place to go to identify what's happening within yourself. But the more you kind of familiarize yourself with the emotional wheel and all the various emotions that are out there, and you look at like 9, 10, 11 emotional wheels and realize like, there's a lot of emotions that a person could feel. I feel X, Y, and Z, right? The more you're better able to articulate and maybe help someone else see what they might be going through. Because remember, if a person is getting triggered and they're entering into a 2, we're not talking about the 3 yet, they're entering into a 2, I want to be able to be aware of the fact that they're entering into a 2. And the moment that they're entering into a 2, I'm recognizing, okay, we're kind of not going to be in logical land anymore. Like we're leaving logical land right now. That's one, right? We're leaving logical land. Maybe they get a little bit jittery. Maybe their voice is getting a little rapid. Maybe tone is going up. Maybe you can even sense and see that on their forehead is getting a little shiny. Maybe they're starting to feel a little bit of sweat in their palms. Maybe they're getting fidgety. You see them tapping the floor, tapping their leg. Maybe they got their arms crossed, and not like in a I'm chilling, like listening type way, but they got their arms crossed, and they're really, you can tell facial expression, facial changes. You start to, in that moment, recognize this person is entering a 2. You know they enter into 3 when they're trying to leave, right? Like when all hell is really breaking loose, then you'd be like, all right, we may be in the 3. But like 2 is like, no, body language change, we're kind of going up. So when you know you're entering into a space of that, you want to make sure that you're paying close attention to, okay, what are some signs that I'm seeing about this? This is where emotional intelligence becomes emotional intelligence, where you see it in yourself. And if you can identify in yourself, you'll be better able to see it in another person. And then it'll help you as you continue to go throughout the process. So the next part is changing others' emotions. You cannot change other people's emotions when they are triggered. You can only give them space to deflate. So when someone is entering into this 2 range, this person, like you cannot be like, all right, I think you're getting out of hand. You need to bring it down. Like you can't do it. You can't tell someone, hey, it seems like you're getting angry. Can you just like chill? That's like going back to like the whole situation where the father's looking at the kid. Be happy. Just be happy, right? And the kid's looking like, what are you talking about, dude? Like I'm angry right now. I'm sad. Want my burger. Anyways, but like. You cannot change someone else's emotion. The only thing you can do is give them room to deflate. And when I say give them room to deflate, I'm talking about give them the opportunity to come down from that 2 into that 1 through doing the same exact thing you do with yourself. Explore it with curiosity, right? The moment, okay, this is just real, right? Like we're talking emotional intelligence, right? The moment you see somebody like, I just don't see how you can think that way, or I just don't agree with that. I just don't see, and you start to see like, oh wait, I think we're entering into a 2, right? The moment you see that, you can back up, right? Hands up, like you got caught, right? I mean, you don't have to do that, but you can be like, hey, listen, honestly, I don't want there to be tension. Right? Like I don't want there to be tension. Help me understand what I said that might have like upset you. Help me understand what I might have done. Help me understand. Like share with me what's going on. It seems like there's more happening. Help me understand. And you start to use words like help me understand. Hey, I'm curious about what's going on. You seem upset. Is everything okay? Did I say something? Help me understand. The moment you start to open up and say like, okay, listen, I'm sorry, I don't want to be on battleground. I don't want to fight you. I don't want us to be angry at each other, right? Like, help me understand. Help me understand what's going on. Is everything okay? Are you sure? How's your heart? Like, forgive me if I did something. I don't want to step on toes. The moment you start to open up and you start to be this, listen, the person may say stuff about you. They may say stuff about you, but they're over here. They say everything that they say, and this is the image that be in my mind. I promise, this is not coming from a hurtful place. This is just honesty. The way that I think about it is, you're probably going to say sorry for that later. Like, if somebody says something that's rude and disrespectful and mean, I'm like, you probably didn't mean that. This is going back to the way that Jesus operates. Remember, because Jesus says, like, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they're doing. Like, they're operating up here right now, and I want to bring them down. And the only way I know how to do that is to let them get out what's on the inside. And so, get out what's on the inside. And they may say, you're just always doing this. And the moment someone says always, you know it's a lie. You know it's a lie. You just want to hit them with the always. That don't help, though. I'm just going to let y'all know from experience. That don't help. When you hit them with the always, I wouldn't say always. Like, because guess what? They can't logic. They can't logic with you. And so the moment you're trying to logic with them, they're looking at you like, always. They know it's not always. But in that moment, their emotion has them blinded, and that's not going to help them come down. As a matter of fact, it's going to shoot them up higher. And so instead of trying to correct, instead of trying to direct, it's like, hey, I want to give you an opportunity to deflate. Tell me what's going on. Well, I just feel like you're always doing this. Man, I can see that really hurt you when I did that. Yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more. Explain to me. Keep explaining this to me. Keep helping me understand. And when you do that, you'll start to notice it's all like, not always, but a lot. And then it's like, oh, now we're getting a little bit more logical, all right? Now we're starting to make a little bit more sense. But like, we cannot change other people's emotions. I can't make you feel heard. I can't make you feel respected. I can't make you feel loved. I can't make you feel those things. But if you feel unloved, if you feel disrespected, if you feel bitter or angry, I can give you space to deflate. And I can just create a safe space. Listen, say what you need to say. If you find yourself going up to the 2 or to the 3, maybe the best thing for you to do is be like, hey, can we come back to this conversation? Can we just come back to this conversation at some point? But eventually we have to come to the point, and this is the tough part, but we have to eventually come to the point where we're willing to stay in the logical land. Because if 2 people go up into the emotional land, there's going to be a lot of controversy. And when I say that, what I mean by that is going up into the 2. If you're on the 1, if you're in a place where you're like, okay, my feet are on the ground, I'm able to realize, okay, they're going up into a 2, and I'm able to see all this, then I have to be willing to set aside my logic and be like, okay, just deflate. If it sounds incorrect, it sounds incorrect. If it sounds not true, it sounds not true. If it sounds crazy, it sounds crazy. But I want to give you the space to release. And if they choose to hold on, they choose to hold on. But you want to do your best to give the space for other people to deflate. Responding appropriately. So, and this is going back to like being in the 2 or the 1. Avoid reacting impulsively and instead respond with empathy and understanding. And that's what we were talking about with the whole like creating space for another person. And it's not easy. And when I say that, I'm saying it's like sometimes, especially when we've been hurt, I come to realize sometimes we just need time for us to heal before we go out and try to talk with somebody about that whole conversation or situation. But this is what true leadership is about. And it's tough sometimes, but true leadership is about being willing to set aside what you're feeling, right? We talked about managing. Set aside what you're feeling for a moment in order to let another person decompress so that you both can have a conversation in level 1. Because if you both can't have a conversation in level 1, then chances are it's really hard. Like, because the goal is not just to let that person release and share all that they needed to share and then be like, okay, we're happy-go-lucky now, right? Like, no, I mean, the whole idea is you want both parties to come down to a 1. You want to be able to come down to a 1. You want to be able to share what's on your heart. You want to both be able to come down to that 1 and have a productive conversation that's